within the chapter of cost of production, this table is something that you're definitely going to see quite a lot of. So we're going to go through each column. I have the formulas for working them out here at the bottom, which might be no harm to write out and keep a record of. And then we're going to go through each one individually. So first of all, our quantity. Well, our quantity is our units of output. Our fixed costs then, so again, they're a fixed cost, they don't change. Our variable costs, these are going to change relative to our production. So as our production increases, these variable costs are going to increase. Our total costs then, so our total costs, we can see here, it's our fixed cost plus our variable cost. Our average cost is our total cost divided by quantity. So it's merely working out the cost it is, or the cost that we have even, of producing 1 unit. Our average variable cost is the variable cost divided by quantity. Our average fixed cost is our fixed cost divided by quantity. And our marginal cost is going to be worked out by the change in our total cost. So when we work out the change in our total cost, that's going to tell us how much it's actually costed us to produce 1 extra unit. So I think the easiest way to actually understand these figures and work them out is to actually do them. So part 1 or unit 1 and 2 is done. So we're going to work out what it cost for if our output was 3, 4 and 7. So if our output was 3, well, our fixed costs we know stay the same. So that's going to remain at 30. Well, our total costs are going to be fixed costs plus variable costs. So we know that 30 plus 90 is going to be 120. The next part then is our average cost. So our average cost for this is our total cost divided by quantity. So it's going to be our 120 divided by our quantity, which is 3. So it's going to give us 40. Our average variable cost then is our variable cost divided by quantity. So if we go to our variable cost here, it's 90. Our quantity is 3, so it's going to be 90 divided by 3, which gives us 30. And our average fixed cost, so our average fixed cost is 30. So to work it out, it's our fixed cost divided by quantity. So our fixed cost is 30. We're dividing that by 30 again. So that's going to give us 10. And then we look at our last column, which is marginal cost. So this is the one that comes up in the questions most often. So our marginal cost, again, this is how much will it cost us to produce 1 extra unit. So if we're going to look at 3 units, so say we only produce 2, if we want to produce that extra 3rd unit, how do we work out how much extra it costs? Well, what we do is we go to our total cost. So it's here. So before our total cost was 90, now our total cost is 120. So to produce that extra 3rd unit, it's costing us 30. So that 30 goes in here. We're going to repeat that again for 4 units and for 7. So again here, this is going to be 30. Our total costs, again, it's our fixed cost plus our variable cost. So 130 plus 30, so that's going to give us our 160. Then we have to work out our average cost. So our average cost is going to be our total cost divided by quantity. So our total cost is 160. We're dividing that by 4, which is our quantity. So that's going to give us 40. Then we have our average variable cost. So our formula, it's our variable cost divided by quantity. So our variable cost here is 130. Our quantity is 4. So it's going to be 130 divided by 4. So that's going to give us 3250, which we'll put in here. Our average fixed cost then, so we calculate that by getting our fixed costs and dividing by quantity. So our fixed costs are again 30. Our quantity is 4. So to work out this figure of average fixed cost, it's going to be 30 divided by 4. So we're going to get 750 for here then. And then same again, our marginal cost is going to be calculated by the change in our total costs. So we'll go to total costs. Our costs were 90, they increased to 130. So we know the marginal cost of producing that 4th unit of whatever it is, good or service, is 40. Okay, and we're going to do one more, so we're going to jump a couple because what you'll see is a trend which we'll need for later in the video. 7 then. So again, this is, we're going to work out the figures for producing that 7th good. So our fixed costs remain at 30. What happens then? Well, our total costs are going to be the same. It's fixed costs plus variable costs, which is going to be 350 plus our 30, which gives us 380. Our average cost is going to be our total cost divided by quantity. So our total cost, 380, divided by quantity, which is 7. It's going to give us 54. Let's say 30. It's 20 or 29. Then we're going to move on to our average variable cost. So our average variable cost, again, should be getting in the habit of it now at this stage. Variable cost divided by quantity. Our variable costs are 350 divided by our quantity is 7. So 350 divided by 7 is going to give us our average variable cost, which is going to work out at 50. Same again, our fixed cost divided by our quantity is going to give us the figure for average fixed cost. So we simply go to our fixed cost divided by our quantity, and that's going to give us our average fixed cost. So that's going to come back at 429. And then the very last one, again, our marginal cost. Our marginal cost, so it's the cost of calculating how much it's going to cost us to produce one extra unit. So we calculate that by looking at the change in our total costs. So total costs is our change in our total costs. Well, we'll actually need the one in front of it, won't we? So let's say if 6 units was here and our previous total cost, scrap that, our previous total cost was 250. Well, our marginal cost is going to be the difference between our total cost from the previous one